There seems to be an awful lot of sad stories in the news today, and there are thousands missing. Does anybody care? We built a channel where we talk about those faces. Talking news. Debbie. Cassie Barnes has still not been found, and it's been 2 years since her case first hit the spotlight. Breaking. Child Gateway and Middle Valley both behind bars. Sarah Galloway was found. She was found alive. What happened to Sarah Galloway?
It's too heartbreaking to share.
Children are still missing. Children like Dorsey. You're a she. You just got away with it. Welcome to Talking News. Hello everyone. My name is Debbie. We use big stories to push little faces.
Welcome to Chasing a Murderer Talking News. Today we have a Talking News episode. It also involves a 4-year-old little boy out of Virginia. Actually, it is Hampton, Virginia. His name is Codi Bigsby. In this story, the background of the parents is very difficult to get information, and people who knew them are not coming forward so much. So it's been difficult for me to get much on this story. Let's go over the information I have been able to collect. First and foremost is what Codi was last wearing and when he was last seen, according to the father, which police seem to think is not a true statement. Codi has brown skin, brown eyes, and black hair. He's 3 foot tall, and he was last seen black and Batman flip-flops. So make sure you share his picture, his story, guys. So let's go ahead and get into the story. So Codi is with his father, Codi Bigsby, who is in his 40s. And we're hearing that on January 30th, Codi is supposedly just fine. Everything's normal. In fact, that Sunday, he said that he checked on his son before going to bed, which was around 2 a.m., going into January 31st. On January 31st, Mr. Bigsby says that he wakes up and he checks on his son around 9 a.m. and he cannot find Codi anywhere. At some point, Codi decides to call the police and report Codi missing. And when investigators and police arrive, they say that, well, he tells them that he last saw his son at 2 a.m. and that he couldn't find him at 9 a.m. that morning. The next step was for police officers to start searching for the little boy. And his parents are completely cooperative, according to investigators. The Hampton police said that when they responded, they searched near the house with no luck. Once they realized that Codi isn't hiding around the house, he's not in the yard, the search intensifies. The police actually start pulling in other resources. They said, quote, "We called every resource, and we have every resource out here that we can think of to bring Codi home safely." They used helicopters, planes, drones, dogs, and they even have people out there searching on foot. And Chief Talbot will actually end up giving a few press conferences shortly after this. By February 1st, investigators have all the resources out there looking for this little guy. And officials are actually searching everywhere that he could be, like dumpsters, and trying to think outside the box of where a little child would go. Police start asking for neighbors to share anything that they know, share camera footage, video, whatever they have that can aid in the search of little Codi. But there's something the public is having questions about, and why is there no Amber Alert for Codi? Well, it seems immediately when police got on the scene, they suspect that this is not an abduction and that it's something else, but they don't tell you what that something else is. And because of what they suspect, this does not fit the criteria for an Amber Alert. Not only that, police say that they have suspicions as to when this disappearance of Codi really happened. In fact, The chief said, quote, "We aren't convinced that this happened at exactly when we found out about it," end quote. So now you're getting hints that there's a possible lie in progress about when Codi was last seen. Who last saw Codi and when? And the police focused their efforts relying on the public to send in videos, information, what they witnessed. Did you guys see Codi? And when was the last time you saw him? Meanwhile, Codi's story is getting out there over the next few days. And there are several volunteers out there trying to search for this little boy and bring him back home. And they want to bring him home safely. But there's another story that is similar to Codi's that happened a few years back. And one Hampton man told a reporter that the reason that he's out there searching is because he had a grandson who is Codi's age. And that hearing that Codi is missing hits home for him. Then he reminisces about an old story, a story that's similar to Codi. He said, quote, "Back when Noah Tomlin's case happened, when he first came up missing, they didn't allow the public to help search. He says, I'm not going to let that happen. I'm going to be out here searching." End quote. Richard, who didn't give a last name to the reporter, was just dead set on helping find this little guy. Richard says, quote, "I started over here at the church at the other side of Bloxham's Corner, where the substation is. Walked around the substation and looked up and down the ditch. When I got down there, I started at the salt ponds and worked my way all the way down, and then went down every road back from the salt ponds to Colonial Acres," end quote. So in the beginning of February, it was around 3:15 one evening when police tell News 3 that their search efforts at the Hampton steam plant, where the 2-year-old was found a few years back, had no leads, so they found nothing there. But they wanted to search the area just to cover all bases. With no luck of finding Codi, police reach out to the public for help. And they ask for anyone who may have seen this child or even anything that might have been related to the investigation to contact them immediately. Chief says, quote, "We feel strongly that somebody listening can be helpful. We feel very strongly about that," end quote. The police chief actually gets hounded with several questions, one of them having to do with the Amber Alert. And his response is, quote, "The investigation does not indicate that he was abducted. There was just no reason to believe it. We certainly are open that that is a possibility. It is not likely," he says, end quote. So we're hearing different rumors that Codi lived with his mother and was visiting his father, but other information says that Codi lives with his father and there are other children in the home who are safe with the police as we speak. But at this time, they didn't go into details as to how many children there were. So we're hearing there's a set of twins and an older child and then Codi. So about 4 children involved is what we know right now. And so we're learning now that the FBI is assisting the police in the search for Codi. Chief says that there's a number of people that they're speaking to that are beyond his parents. He says, quote, "We're establishing a role for the general public to help us assist in this search. At this time, we're only seeking the first 50 volunteers. We need to be able to coordinate the volunteers and be able to determine where they are searching and to have accurate way to track where those volunteers are going to be working with their staff," end quote, which makes total sense. Organization is key to being able to know where to look next. February 3rd, something very interesting happens in Hampton, Virginia. The father, Codi Bigsby, of Codi, is arrested, and he is arrested on charges of child neglect. According to the chief, Corey's charges are based on his admission of leaving his 5-year-old, 4-year-old, and 2-year-old twins home alone on numerous occasions. Now, and get this, according to Talbot, he said that Corey told investigators, quote, it was too much of a burden to bring his kids along with him, end quote. And for the investigators, this is the point where the investigation is going to start to become more intense. They're going to start putting that puzzle together pretty quickly. And after February 3rd, this is where the FBI is going to actually provide more extensive amount of forensic data. And we will see them actually go into these apartments or townhouses that Corey and his children live in with a search warrant and actually go through this place and haul out bags of evidence. After Corey is arrested, though, there's trouble stirred up by the media. In fact, they are trying to claim that Corey wasn't offered the opportunity to speak to an attorney. But the chief had something more to say. He said, quote, Mr. Bigsby is a 43-year-old man who's had a full career in the Army. He is retired from a position of authority, and he seems to be quite intelligent. He seems to be quite capable. And part of his capabilities seem to be understanding his rights. At no time did he request to see an attorney. Had he have made such a request, we would have honored that request, end quote. So I think I forgot to mention the address of where this is happening. So according to the information I have at this time, it's near the 100 block Ranelette Drive. If you live in this area or you know someone in this area, definitely double check your surveillance video, photos, whatever you might have captured during the time period between, let's say, January 29th through January 31st into February 1st. But officers were saying in particular they want the public to focus on noon Sunday until Monday morning, 9 a.m. Let me play a few clips for you guys.
In the parking lot next to the apartments where he was reported missing, it is a stark contrast and a very, very different scene that we're seeing here today. There's empty parking lot today. All last week we saw police officers, we saw mobile units, we saw search and rescue teams, dogs, search dog, people, volunteers, but right now it's eerily quiet in this parking lot as the Hampton police change their investigation into a different phase. Right now, we do have resiliency in the community. That is the number one thing that is staying strong a week since Codi was first reported missing.
And I can tell you that they are not lacking for volunteers. There are people, just hundreds of people, who are trying to help out and try to find Codi. And then we have some pretty interesting videos popping up of people who are interested in this case. I wanted to play this one for you a little bit.
Live where I am here in Hampton, Virginia, once again in front of Hampton, Virginia courthouse. Right now, guys, we're out here trying to figure out what time is Mr. Bigsby court date on tomorrow. Tomorrow he is due in court for a bond hearing. We want to know, are they going to let him out of jail or not? Also, the public wants to know the 7 charges of child neglect that he has now been charged with due to his confession. Is it going to stick in court? Right now, allegedly, his lawyer is saying, did they question my client without the proper legal reputation that he's supposed to have? Did they really inform the client that his family provided him with a lawyer? Would the 7 felony neglect charges uphold inside of court? If they do not uphold inside of court, is the Hampton Police Department going to release Mr. Bigsby? Guys, this is breaking news here in Hampton, Virginia. I am Rhoda Young Live, where we are staying in tune with what's really going on with Codi's case. Guys, if they release Codi's father, would he lead us to the body eventually? Do you think Codi's body is really still here in Hampton?
All right. So yes, you heard she was concerned and the public's concerned about him being released on bond. Codi Bigsby appeared in court on February 8th. I believe it's February 8th. Do not mark me on this one. And he was absolutely denied bond. Very interesting, to say the least. So what went wrong in this household? He seems to be a father that wants to take care of his kids in one breath, and in the other, he believes that they're a pain in the butt to take to certain places, which we've not been told what those places are. A lot of people have questions. What about the mother? What's going on with mom here? Well, mom is staying out of the spotlight, no doubt, but police say that she is talking with them and she's more than cooperating with police. We just don't have much information on her, but really the focus is on Codi. Where, we need to focus on Codi. Where is he? So it seems that police do have a few people that are talking, so they're learning a little bit on the background of this man. So around February 7th of 2022, the forensic unit is gathering tons of evidence from Codi Bigsby's Hampton apartment. And by that time, Codi is actually going into a second week of missing. The fact that investigators are focused on this apartment kind of reads not good for Codi Bigsby. And in case I forgot to mention it, this is at the Buckrow Point Apartments. They are seen several hours there coming in and out of the apartment holding the brown evidence bags. The purpose of them being there, police say, is to gather evidence and any intelligence to further the investigation, if I can talk. Also, around this time, you notice that their search efforts kind of scale back a little bit. And all they can do is hold Codi on 7 counts of neglect, at least until they can figure out some answers attached to Codi's disappearance. It's hard to believe that he is being accused of leaving his children alone for hours on end at the ages they are. And the public wants to know, did the mom ever get any idea that this was happening with her children? And we're hearing there's a chance that Codi lived at these apartments for at least 2 years or up to 2 years. So maybe there'll be some neighbors there that are witnesses to some of these neglect issues. And right now, it's up to police to just establish patterns and routines and get all the information they can from the public. So I did want to mention that it was Rhonda Young who is pushing this idea that her brother, Codi Bigsby, did not get a chance for legal counsel. And in watching some of the media sources out there that showed the chief talking to the public and to media, you can hear reporters trying to push that issue, but that didn't fly. And it's going to be interesting to know what police find on Codi's father's phone or GPS. So for me, it seems like the chief knows everything that's going on, and it's just a matter of putting it together, because he says this is one of the most comprehensive cases he has ever worked. So for me, that was a big clue that they have an idea. So guys, let me apologize that I did have to put this video together pretty quickly. I wasn't able to put my notes in perfect order, so that made it a little bit hard for me to do this video. But guys, I hope that they're able to get answers for Codi. We're all hoping that he'll be found safe, but it just seems like there is a chance that that's not the case with this, and it's just another sad, disappointing case attached to a neglectful parent, possibly. So let's just send our prayers and our love out. They seem to have enough volunteers helping right now, so all they need is just support and love and to share this story. I'm sure, and probably not too far from now, we'll hear more details on the parents and what the kids, what their lifestyle was like, what their background's like. But police are not focused so much on that as they are is finding this missing child. Sending love to Codi and his family. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to share. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and always say hello in the comments. See you guys soon.